Welcome to the Movie Cheer Podcast, the show for movie fans. I am your host, AP, aka Mr. Movie Cheer, and on today's episode of the Movie Cheer Pod, it will be a Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness spoiler discussion episode. That is right. So today is going to be a heavy spoiler episode of Doctor Strange 2. I have watched it. I'm filming this on Friday, recording this on Friday. I've watched it earlier on today. So I've watched it. I'm all prepped for this. Fresh off viewing this movie today. So I'm going to be discussing this in great detail. So it'll be all spoilers ahead for the rest of today's show, for the headline topic of today's show on the discussion of Doctor Strange 2. So if you have not watched that movie as of yet, and you do not want to spoil that movie for yourself as a movie fan, just stop watching now. Stop watching. Come back to this episode at a later point. Don't spoil the movie for yourself. Enjoy the movie. So this is the spoiler warning for the rest of the show. Spoilers for the rest of the show ahead. If you don't want to get spoiled that movie, don't watch anymore. But that will be the headline topic today. Doctor Strange 2 spoilers for today's show, our headline topic. But today we start the show with every other show, every other week. I start the show with a segment called Not So Worthy Blockbuster Housekeeping. This is the part of the show where I ease into things, discuss what's going on with the channel, and it's just a general chit chat, getting us ready for that big headline topic for the rest of the show. So, what's been going on this week? Not So Worthy Blockbuster Housekeeping. Well, first of all, this Thursday, I had a new video on the channel, and it was a 20th Century Fox movies in my collection video, where me looking at a few of the 20th Century Fox releases in my collection. Really fun video to do. I think I filmed that a while ago as well. I think the beard's transitioning. If you're watching the video version here, you're seeing the beard transition throughout the past couple of weeks. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. I was saying in the comments to a few different people, just saying, with 20th Century Fox movie releases, it's not surprising. I think just the 80s and 90s especially, I went into the collection behind me, and just seeing the amount of, how many movies were some of the best movies out there as well. Some really, like, a lot of the action movies from like the 80s and 90s, a lot of them were 20th Century Fox releases, and it was a really big company until it obviously being now purchased by Disney, and now it's under the flagship of Disney. It's kind of not what it is now. I suppose it is just another studio within Disney. Not to say this isn't saying Disney are bad, because I think they make great movies. I really do think they make great movies. But it isn't. I suppose it's not its own thing anymore. It's since the buyout. It's now it's 20th Century Fox, Disney's version of that. But I think we've been treasured with some great movies over the years, and it's nice that you can still go into that vault of the 20th Century Fox movies from the past. And it was just nice to do that video, and I'll probably do a few more of those moving forward, looking at different. I probably could do another 20th Century Fox one easy, but it'd be nice to go into a few other different film companies like Disney, Paramount. There's tons of them out there, tons of different companies that I'm sure I could explore the collection behind me, the Movie Cheer collection, and just talk about them, talk about the movies I enjoy. That's what this channel's all about, talking about movies you enjoy. What else has been going on in Movie Cheer Town this past week anyway? On the website, so obviously there's the YouTube channel, and then there's the website, moviecheerpodcast.com. Where it is a blog discussing movie topics, kind of like another little side part of the Movie Cheer Town and the Movie Cheer podcast. Basically, so I had a blog post this past week discussing movie rooms versus cinemas in 2022. Kind of done this sort of discussion on the channel a few years ago, on discussing like home theaters and versus cinemas. I think it was like back in 2020, that video I put together. And I thought, let's revisit it in a blog form and do a bit of a write-up and my thoughts in 2022, how I feel about the cinemas, how I feel about movie rooms / home theatres, whatever you want to really call them. And yeah, I really enjoyed doing that article. Really well worth checking out if you've not read it already. But I think that is one where I'll probably do a video version of that as well at some point in this year, just discussing what my thoughts are in the video format as well. And I think sometimes you can express different opinions on written format and in video format as well. I think sometimes you can put forward other things that maybe you couldn't get on paper or you couldn't think of when you were putting it down on paper. So I'll definitely revisit that topic in a video form at some point. That'd be fun to do. What else has been going on anyway? We got the Patreon side of things, just to go over that there quickly. Coming up this Monday, it will be Doctor Strange 2 more spoiler discussion. So I'm going to do a bit of an extended video on Movie Cheer Pod Plus. That'll be Monday's video coming up. And just a kind of another little thing in regards to the Patreon stuff. If you know, on the YouTube channel as well, in the past, I do like these webcomics for, it's called Masters and Realms, Purge of the Ghost. And it's been this webcomic I've been doing for the past probably 2 years now. And I can't remember I mentioned, I probably didn't, but I've recently finished that comic and it's going to be finishing later on this year in a month or two time, maybe. Might be around September time. It's going to be finishing up. And it's been fun doing that, and that is going to be coming to an end soon, though, on the Patreon side of things. I don't know whether I will get around to doing another webcomic. I think it'd be something fun to do. I think, if anything, though, they would be short webcomics and maybe, I don't know, maybe feature more of like the stuff from the World Movie League stuff, like the character of Buck Sculdone or some other characters, maybe the Monster Hideaway characters, something like that. But I want to make it more related to movies and the Movie Cheer podcast. So if I do any more webcomics as well. But I've had fun doing them while I did do them, and but that's going to be coming to an end this year, and the final page has been done. I think it was like 100 and about 144, 148 pages, and yeah, it was a challenge to doing a webcomic, but you know what? It was a fun challenge, and I'm glad I completed it. That's something I was really happy about. But that's just a kind of an update on the Patreon side of things. But anyway, let's move on with the rest of the show. Not so worthy Blockbuster housekeeping is over and done with. Let's move on to the headline topic. So, the headline topic, Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness spoiler discussion. This is it. So, as I said, I watched the film earlier on today, and yeah, so it's fresh in the memory right now. And I'm going to let's deep dive into it. But like I said again at the start of the episode, there will be spoilers ahead. If you've not watched it again, this is kind of the last pre-warning for that. So spoilers ahead in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The spoilers are now ahead, ladies and gents. So, first off, let's talk about the plot of this movie. Let's give a basic plot. Let's just go over the plot basically again. The premise of this movie is Doctor Strange. The movie starts off in this dream sequence that we've seen from the trailers, and he says he keeps having this reoccurring dream. And it's of these alternate versions of Doctor Strange, and he's sort of like seeing the other alternate versions of Doctor Strange, and basically they're coming to the deaths. And you see this character of America Chavez, this young girl she is able to transport throughout the multiverse, but she can't control the power basically. So she's like this transporting character. She transports through the multiverse, the different Earths. And then it comes to Earth, to reality with Doctor Strange. He wakes up from the dream, and he's going to like the wedding of Christine Palmer. She's getting married to another man, and then we see like this big like octopus squid-like character attacking. And it's like during the wedding, he comes out, gets dressed up as Doctor Strange, and then we see this character, this young girl of American Chavez from his dream. He's the girl he's seen in the dream sequence. And basically, he sees her, he notices, and he's like, yeah, you're from my dream. He saves her from this big monster. And then she explains to him that, all the other Doctor Strange, they've been like they've been bad, and they've sort of like tried to use her power and stuff like that. And she says like she's from the multiverse, she's not from this Earth, and she explains like there's some after her and stuff. Someone's chasing her for her power, and then we see them. Then they come together as like this alliance of Wong, the Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange, and America Chavez, and then they sort of like this thing where like they've got to protect her. And what they do then, Doctor Strange goes to Elizabeth Olsen's character of Wanda Maximoff, and also known in this movie as Scarlet Witch as well. She plays the lead villain in this movie, and it kind of, in the trailers, it teased that she could be a villainous character and she could have villainous moments, but it didn't really. Maybe a lot of us out there weren't sure whether she would be the main villain for the whole movie, but she was the main villain for the whole movie, and it was an interesting choice. I think she really did nail it, and I will get down to like my honest opinions of the characters in the movies in a short few moments' time. But she played the villain of the piece, but at first it was like she was reeling Doctor Strange in that she was actually good, and then she kind of let slip that she knew about America Chavez before he mentioned her name. And then, she reveals herself to be the Scarlet Witch to Doctor Strange. And then this is where she sort of like, she shows herself to be the villain of the piece. We know at this point she is the villain. And really, this is the point really where you see that this story is not really so much Doctor Strange's story. It's more, I suppose, the story of Wanda, and it really is a story that is kind of a sequel to what we've seen in WandaVision. It was very much like, this is what happens after WandaVision. We see the tease at the end of WandaVision where we get that tease of the Scarlet Witch suit and the comic-accurate costume, and we get that in this, and we see this continuation of now the character becoming a much more villainous character, and she is obviously the villain within this story. But the plot really here is, like, to skip forward and to give a grand summary of this movie. She lost her two children in the WandaVision show, her two kids that she made up in her mind and she made physical, but then when she got rid of Westview, they had to go, and she wanted her two sons back. And she was willing to go to another place in the multiverse to be with her children. And that's why she wants America Chavez, because she can travel throughout the multiverse. But she wants to, she will take the power from America Chavez. It could potentially kill her. She wants her for villainous acts and go into another place, another universe, and then she would have to, obviously kill that version of Wanda. Everything she's doing here is an act of evil. It is not an act of a hero. And this is where we see the true story here. And Doctor Strange is trying to stop her. And then we see Doctor Strange then, with American Chavez, go into another Earth in the multiverse, into Earth 838. They are from Earth 616, well, Doctor Strange's. And then we see him meeting the Illuminati, this group that is very much like an Avengers-level group that features Mr. Fantastic Reed Richards, Captain Marvel, played by Monica Rambeau, so there's an alternative version of that Captain Marvel character. We have Baron Mordo, or Cal Mordo as well, an alternate version of that. We have Charles Xavier, Professor X, and it kind of like alludes that it's more of the Professor X from like the animated show. It's not the one we've seen in the X-Men movies. Who else do we have? We have Captain Carter. So apparently she is a character in this What If TV show. It's like if Peggy Carter got the super soldier serum, what would it be like? I've not watched that show, but I've seen bits of it, and obviously it's a version of that character. And then we also see Black Bolt, which was really interesting, a really interesting choice, played by the guy in the Inhumans show. But they rebooted him, given like the comic accurate look, which was really cool. I know that guy's been in the Star Trek shows as well. I think he's in that new Star Trek show, and he was in, I think is it Strange New Worlds? He's in that. And not to mention, John Krasinski was playing Mr. Fantastic. I didn't even mention that, which was a really big moment. And I will get into them cameos and discuss that and again soon. But like I said, the premise of it, she wanted to get her children back. That was the real premise of the story. It ends in the end where, they basically they show her, they put her into a room then in the end with her children. Her children are super scared of her, and their version of the mother is just trying to protect them. And then it's kind of like this realization. I feel like this is the point of a few characters in this come the end of it. It's a realization. With America Chavez, she can't control her powers throughout this story until the very end moments when all the other Doctor Strange, all the variants of Doctor Strange have taken her power and tried to use her power. But this version of Doctor Strange says, no, I don't want to take your power. You use your power. It's basically, it's like you have control here. And then she controls it, and she controls her power at the end, punches Wanda into this dimension of the living room of where this alternate family is. The kids are scared. Wanda then backs down, and basically throughout the story, she's trying to get hold of this book, the Darkhold, this book where it's all these like really dark spells to see the different dimensions and to travel to the different dimensions through this power called dream walking, where she can sit in the mind of alternate versions of herself throughout the multiverse. But she gets that realization at the end, and she kind of backs down from this villainous act, and she realizes, them kids will not love her like the mother from their universe. So she backs down, and then we see her just like perish then in the big Darkhold temple. But then we see later on that she went to every different multiverse, or she somehow destroyed this Darkhold book, this all dark magic book in every multiverse. And that's what we're led to believe, because they all seem to vanish in this story at the end. So she kind of had an act of good, what is kind of like implied at the end, but we don't know. We might see more of this character moving forward. But that is the basic plot of the movie, and we're seeing, Doctor Strange travel throughout the multiverse in the story. Honest opinions of the movie then. What do I think of this? Discuss the plot. What do I think of the movie as a whole? I'll be honest with you, I really enjoyed it. I've read a few reviews online, and I've been on the Reddit boards afterwards to see what the general perception was of people. I've listened to like Dan Murrell's podcast and stuff, and I think he was kind of like wasn't favourable of it from what I was listening to. I didn't listen to the whole video. I've been on Reddit posts, and it feels like a lot of people are either in the camp of like the mixed on the movie, the unsure, or maybe the leaning towards, from what I've read anyway. This is only what I've seen on a few Reddit posts. Maybe some people didn't like it as much as they thought they would have liked it. This is not everyone. This is just what I'm seeing after looking at online for 5 or 10 minutes. But yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. Maybe I'm just a Marvel fanboy, an MCU fanboy. Maybe anything Marvel related, I'm just going to be keen on. But then I think to myself, you know what? No, I think I can be honest, and I am honest. Like Eternals was not a movie I enjoyed. There's definitely been Marvel movies in the past that I haven't enjoyed as much. As sequels go as well, I thought Guardians of the Galaxy 2 wasn't as good as the first one. I watched this. I thought it was just as good as the first one, if not better. I think it definitely added a different layer to it, a different dimension. I think it went into areas maybe the first one didn't, and I think it worked well. It was a different story. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think for me, the tone of the movie, let's talk about the tone. I think the tone, first of all, in certain moments of this movie, especially near the end where you're getting these Doctor Strange he goes into the body of a dead version of himself so he can beat down on Scarlet Witch. And we see him like it's like a Thriller video, isn't it? He comes out the ground, it's like Michael Jackson and Thriller. And we see like this zombie version of Doctor Strange. And I thought, if you were taking a young kid to see this movie, it's quite, it's not like real, like super bad horror. Like it's not like it's nothing like blood or anything like that. But I think the scenes of like the occult, some moments in this, I thought, this is not suitable for kids. I mean, I don't know what the age rating is on it, but I mean, they had an age rating on the Batman, and I'm watching some scenes in this, and I'm thinking, wow, this is at some points is a bit too much for kids. I think the occult and the sort of like all like the dark magic at the end and stuff, it just like seemed a bit too much. I thought. I enjoyed it though. I thought it was good. But yeah, the tone was very darker than the first one. A very darker tone. Uh, with stuff like that, with like these zombies and stuff, and seeing these alternate versions of Doctor Strange who were corrupted by evil, and just like a dark look at these characters, and it was cool. It was like a look in the mirror of what these other versions of these characters were like. Best moments for me have got to be, I mean, meeting the Illuminati. That was pretty cool. That was cool because going into it, I'd seen certain things and certain things I was unsure about. But seeing the reveals of who the Illuminati was, that was pretty cool. Best moment though, the battle of is it Carmitage, the temple at the start where Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, arrives and she's just like blasting him. It's like this like maybe 2, 3, 4 minute battle, and she's just like breaking into the temple. And I thought it was a great scene, really well put together action scene. You see all these different sorcerers all just trying to defend Carmitage and trying to defend against the attack from the Scarlet Witch as she's trying to get American Chavez. I thought that was one of the best moments in the movie. The scene with the music where they're having like that music battle with the evil Doctor Strange, I thought that was pretty good as well. The stuff where they're traveling through the multiverse was pretty cool. Where you see all these different alternate versions of Earth, and you see a comic book version, like in this one version where they turn into paint. I thought that was really cool. The visual look of these different alternate versions of Earth was really cool as well. It really, they just give a real like a futuristic look to some of the places, and just like some of the places like these city landscapes that were covered in greenery, and then you see ones where it had all been decayed. I thought visually it was quite stunning. But yeah, overall, I think it was a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. I think, look, the character work for me, like I said, it was like more of a Scarlet Witch movie. I felt more watching this. This is like Scarlet Witch. This is her story. It really is her story in this, and Doctor Strange was there for the ride. But I liked, there wasn't so. I wouldn't say there was a ton of progression of the Doctor Strange character. I think we see a lot of the character of Scarlet Witch develop, and we've seen this new version of her now, this villainous character. I thought American Chavez was really good. I thought the young actress who played her was really good, and that character I really enjoyed as well. I think she just fitted in straight away with Doctor Strange, and she was vital to the plot as well. But yeah, overall, I think it was a really fantastic movie, a really fun experience at the cinema. I've seen another superhero movie this year, The Batman, and for me, I think, Doctor Strange 2 for me is a winner for me, definitely. Let's just talk about the maybe some of the faults of the movie, some of the things I didn't like as much, because if I talked about the positives, I think I was expecting more from this idea of the multiverse. And I feel like it went from, Doctor Strange Earth, and we do like this travel, and we see all the alternate versions in this like quick, maybe like 30-second clip, and then they're in this new Earth 838. In this Earth, then we see the Illuminati, and then we see Scarlet Witch arrive, and then it goes back to the normal Earth then again. For me, I felt like we were going to get a lot more interactions with more multiverse characters or seeing different versions, and we did in a way, but I felt maybe I was just expecting a bit more multiverse, and that would be my kind of only one negative of the movie, that we didn't see too much. But I think then, are you just doing it for the pop of like characters? Like, are you throwing it? I mean, I did the show the other week, the prediction show. Are you just throwing in more and more characters for the sake of doing it? And maybe that is the case, but it was only a minor critique that I feel like I was expecting a bit more multiverse, even though we do get a significant amount, but I feel like, I don't know, maybe we could have got a few more cameos in there. But yeah, they're my only faults with the movie. The soundtrack was great. I didn't realise until looking at the end credits, that it was Danny Elfman, who obviously it was a Sam Raimi movie. Danny Elfman worked with Sam Raimi on the Spider-Man trilogy, on the first two movies at least anyway. And he done the music score for this. I didn't realise Michael Giacchino wasn't doing the score. But yeah, his score was great. It was, comparing it to the first movie, a very different score. But I was thinking, I couldn't hear the original score, I was thinking, why are we not hearing the original score? Like, it makes sense then. Danny Elfman was doing the score this time round. But yeah, really only small negatives. I just wanted a bit more multiverse, but it's a minor critique. Overall, I think it was a really fantastic movie. So now let's get to those big character pops, the cameos, whatever you want to call them, the surprise characters. Look, the fan moments of this movie. We got, I think more specifically, the Illuminati. We got that reveal, and like I said, big reveal there. We get John Krasinski playing Mr. Fantastic Reed Richards. I will say, earlier on in the week in my day job, I was told by someone who I work with. He said, the guy who was speaking to, he said he'd seen something online, and then it was like he said it was definitely not fake. I've not checked out what the big leak was yet. I imagine it was. I'm pretty sure it was that. Wasn't the Reed Richards was being played by John Krasinski, because that was like, I know there was an apparent leak earlier on in the week. Last night I went on YouTube and I was trying to avoid anything comic book related, and I was just watching a few different videos. And do you know, you get them videos where it says like recommended for me, and I'm going through it and just checking it, and I see a thumbnail with the picture of John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. And as soon as I seen it, I just flicked over quickly. I didn't want to see it. And I said in my mind then, I've heard about this leak, that's probably going to be the leak. I tried to just forget about it, because I thought maybe it's just some sort of like photoshopped, look. People do it really well, don't they? And I did put it out of my head, and even when I seen him on screen, it was still a surprise, and it's still very exciting to see. So that was really cool. Another thing, we all knew that like Captain Carter, played by Hayley Atwell, was going to be in it. We didn't know about Monica Rambeau. I'll be honest, that wasn't like super, a big pop moment for me, because I'm not super fond of Captain Marvel as a character, so I wasn't big on that. We knew that Patrick Stewart was going to be returning as Charles Xavier. What I did like was we got that little musical motif of the X-Men animated show. That it was very short, like a do-do-do-do-do. We got that very, very short there, but it was just a nice little touch by Danny Elfman, the composer of this movie. But like Black Bolt as well. I've never watched that Inhumans show. I've heard really bad things about it. It got cancelled, so I've got no intention of ever watching it, to be honest with you. But I like the look of Black Bolt. I'm not going to pretend that I know much about the comic books, the Inhumans comics, but I've seen the visual look, and it looked better, obviously, than what the Inhumans TV show had. And I think it was cool that we're getting, they're saying now, like, we can revamp stuff. If something didn't work in the past, we can revamp it and do a different version of it with this multiverse idea. And I really like that. And it's kind of with like the John Krasinski Mr. Fantastic. I mean, who knows if he will be the eventual Mr. Fantastic in the movie, or whether it was just a point for the fans there, giving us a big fan moment. I think overall, it was great. It was great, great for fans of Marvel. This for me was like, this is what we got in the Fox purchase. With the X-Men, we got the Fantastic Four. We're going to use them in this, Disney, and we're going to use them for this movie. We're going to give you Fantastic Four. We're going to give you, a part of the Fantastic Four, a part of the X-Men series. And yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was really great. But they're the fan parts. But I just want to say, would I recommend this movie? Would I recommend this movie to people? First of all, yes. Most definitely. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I think Scarlet Witch was a great villain, and a great choice of a villain. Elizabeth Olsen, she stole the show. Her with America Chavez, they are the actress. I can't remember the lady's name who played the America Chavez character, but I mean, them two characters stole the show for me. Forgetting all the fan pops, the arrival of Mr. Fantastic, them two characters were great. Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange continued to be great. Nothing Not like a massive progression of the character, I'll be honest with you, but overall, I think it was a really great performance in a great sequel. Really good sequel. It's hard to do sequels in it sometimes. Some of them are hit and misses. Some of them, like I said, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was a decent movie, but for me, the first one was the best. This one, for me, it progressed the Doctor Strange franchise. May have not necessarily progressed the character of Doctor Strange, but the franchise, it was a progression from the first story, definitely. I just want to end, before we end the headline topic today, though, like I said, I really enjoyed the movie, but I want to go through my predictions. I got the predictions here on paper. Where are we? So I did a prediction show the other week for Doctor Strange, and I want to go through what of my predictions on the main show came true and how close I got. So I did have a Wolverine variant in the yellow tights. That did not happen. That was my first prediction. Prediction number 2, as it was a Sam Raimi movie, I was expecting to see a Tobey Maguire cameo. That did not happen. We did get Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell featured in this movie. What else? Prediction number 3. My predictions are bad. They are bad. Prediction number 3. An alternate version of Iron Man played by Sam Rockwell, the character of Justin Hammer that Sam Rockwell plays. That did not happen. We didn't get any Iron Man. We got Ultron bots. We didn't get any Iron Man. Prediction number 4, my final prediction on the main show was Michael B. Jordan as an alternate version of Killmonger, playing a new version of Black Panther. That did not happen. None of my predictions on the main show came true. I did have John Krasinski in the Movie Cheer Pod Plus episode. I can't remember which other predictions would have come true on that one, but they were my predictions for Doctor Strange 2. None of them come true, but one of these days I will do a prediction show where at least one on the main show will come true. But you know what? Either way, it was super fun doing the predictions and watching this movie. It was an absolute treat for me as a movie fan, indeed. Now, let's move on anyway. The headline topic is over for today's show. Let's move on with the rest of the show. It's time for the Movie Variant Showdown segment of the show. Are you ready? Movie Variant Showdown. Each and every week I pick a different representative of a movie property, whether it be a case cover, a movie character, a movie poster, whatever it may be representing a movie, and then I put it up against a different variant of that representative. And then I put them against each other, whether it be 1, 2, or 3 different variants. Whatever it may be, it will go against the other in Movie Variant Showdown. Last week on the show, I looked at the UK case covers of the Batman movie. And this week, I want to look at the Batman movie for the US release, the case covers for that one. So we're going to look at the DVD, the Blu-ray, and the 4K for the US case covers for the Batman movie. Now, first of all, I'm going to start off with the DVD cover. Now, the DVD cover is the same as the UK version, the DVD. So you've got the Catwoman and Batman again. I understand, obviously, if you listen to this as an audio version, you're not going to see these. But visually, I'll just say you've got an orange background. You've got the Batman text at the top and Catwoman and Batman. Catwoman's on a bike, and then you see the Batmobile in the background for the DVD cover. So this is the same as the UK cover as well. Then we move on to the Blu-ray. Now, the Blu-ray is actually the same cover as the UK 4K, I believe. And I didn't mind this cover. I must say the DVD and these two covers I didn't pick as my favourites on the UK cover last week. But I do like this. It's basically one of the posters for the Blu-ray cover this was taken from. So the Blu-ray basically takes one of the movie posters. And I think it's cool. It features all the characters. You've got the Riddler, you've got Penguin, Catwoman, and Bruce Wayne and Batman on there. And the text is, is a bit more, you've got like that darker, it goes into the sky, like a night sky, and then you see the text looks a bit more prominent on this one, the Blu-ray. So I do like both covers, but Now we move on to the 4K of the US case cover. Now, the 4K basically features a very different one cover from the UK or the US releases. This is just, it shows the side of Batman's face, and it's a close-up camera. You see the middle of the middle of the shot, we see the Batman logo, and it's, very just Batman's face, and it looks very different from what we're seeing with the other covers. And I think I said this last week with the UK cover, where I like these ones where they're a bit, bit more minimalist, the look of them, and this is definitely does it for me, the 4K. I think it's less is more sometimes, and just seeing the Batman's face here, seeing, the text, it's still, notable, the text, but you just see the Batman, and you just know this is the Batman movie. And for me, the 4K US cover wins through because I think it's just a much better cover. I think it stands out a lot more than the Blu-ray and the DVD versions. So movie variant showdown for this week, the Batman 4K of the US case cover wins for me. Now let's move on with the rest of the show, and now we move on to another segment, and the title of this segment is Movies for the Weekend. Each and every week I give you 2 recommendations to watch this weekend. This week I have 2 movies. Now, first movie I will say, I watched Heat last week, and Robert De Niro and Val Kilmer and Al Pacino. And going to Robert De Niro, I think his career transition, it feels like he has went into more comedies from like the early 2000s, whereas like 90s earlier on, he was more like crime movies. But we get Meet the Parents with Robert De Niro, Ben Stiller. This was kind of like the reinvention of Robert De Niro's career for a lot of people, I imagine. It's a really cracking movie, a really good comedy at the time. It's probably a bit dated now, but I still think it's really funny, this movie. I think Ben Stiller's great, and De Niro as the obsessive dad of the daughter who's just trying to make Ben Stiller's life like hell every day is pretty funny. Really funny movie. Another sort of like kick I'm on at the moment is John Carpenter. So I'm really into John Carpenter at the moment, and this is one I've watched many a times before and really have enjoyed it, and I've probably recommended it on the show before. John Carpenter directing Escape from New York, starring Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell is an actor who, over the past couple of years, I've really enjoyed a lot more. I watched Big Trouble in Little China the other week, and that was the April movie of the month for the Movie Cheer podcast. I think this is a great movie. Absolute great movie. Really good John Carpenter movie. Probably my favourite John Carpenter soundtrack in this. He does the score in this, and it's fantastic. Really great film. If you're into action movies, this will be up your street. It was an 80s movie. I think it was like the sequel come out in like 96. I think this would have been, would it 81? Would it 82? Probably see if I can get the date here maybe. Let's say 81. Great movie, Escape from New York. They are the movies for the weekend. Let's move on with the rest of the show. The Amazon Top 10 is approaching. Prepare yourself. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Amazon Top 10 has arrived. The Amazon Top 10. Every week I look at the top 10 of bestsellers for DVD, Blu-ray and 4K in the movies section on amazon.co.uk, and let's have a look at what is in the top 10 of movie releases, physical releases for this week. So first off, we start at number 10. We have the DVD of Dune. At number 9, we have the Blu-ray of The Batman. The Batman, it's creeping in there now. At number 8, Death on the Nile, the DVD of that. At number 7, Downton Abbey, A New Era. Now, I think this is at the cinemas now. I don't know if it's probably a pre-release, pre-purchase of this. That's the DVD of Downton Abbey: A New Era at number 7. Number 6, we have No Time to Die, the DVD of that movie. Still in the top 10. It's still hanging on in there after such a great big run at number 1 for some time last year. And number 5, we have the DVD of Disney's Encanto. Great movie. And number 4, it is the Blu-ray of Spider-Man No Way Home. And number 3, it is the Spider-Man No Way Home DVD. And number 2, Belfast, the Belfast movie on DVD. And at number 1, still, at number 1 from last week, Sing 2 on DVD. I am still astonished that Sing 2 it's nearly knocking my mic over it. Sing 2 is top of that chart. I mean, like I said, I've not watched Sing 1, Sing 2. I've not seen any of them. Not probably a movie I'm probably going to jump out of my seat to go and watch and to go and find. But hey, look, it's top of the Amazon top 10 for a second week in a row, so it must be doing something good. Anyway, let's move on with the final section of today's show, and the final segment is what's been on the screen. What's been on the screen this week for myself? What have I been watching on the movie front, the TV front? Well, first off, I will start off with this. The Obi-Wan Kenobi new trailer came out. We've had a teaser already, and we got a new trailer this past week. We got that tease at the end of the trailer of Darth Vader. That was just amazing. The trailer looked great. I was getting from this trailer when we heard Ewan McGregor speak for the first time, really, in this, and maybe he spoke in the first one, but we seen him like act him on screen, and I felt like they've obviously this is a few years after Revenge of the Sith, and it's more closer to the timeline now of A New Hope, and I felt like he was kind of doing a bit more of an Alec Guinness Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't know if anyone else got this, but maybe I'm just seeing it because I'm a big fan of Alec Guinness and the character, his portrayal of Obi-Wan Kenobi. I felt like he was like, the reflections in his voice sounded like he was trying to, obviously, this is years after Revenge of the Sith anyway, so his voice has changed, Ewan McGregor, so his voice is definitely, as you grow older, your voice changes. Look, if I look at my voice from 10 years ago, my voice will have significantly changed. But it felt like his voice was a bit more mature, and it sounded a bit more Alec Guinnessy to me. Anyway, I don't know if anyone else got that, but the trailer looked fantastic. That is coming out at the end of this month. I think it's like the 28th of May, around that mark. We're going to get 2 episodes on the first day of the release. I'm excited for this one. It wasn't something initially when I heard it announced that I was super pumped for, but the closer it gets to this release of the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show, I'm getting really excited for the prospect of this show. So I'm looking forward to that. What else has been on my screen this past week? Well, I will say I've watched the finale of Moon Knight. I watched the past 2 episodes. I've been watching them every 2 weeks, doing 2 episodes a week. And thankfully, I've avoided spoilers of Moon Knight as well. So, spoilers for Moon Knight if you've not watched that show, if you've not caught up with. So I'm going to go a bit of a brief summary of the show in general in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoilers for Moon Knight ahead. What did I think of the show as a whole? I will say I was kind of mixed on it. I was really excited for this character. I like the look of it, and there was certain moments where I really enjoyed it, but kind of a bit mixed on this show. I think a lot of these MCU shows, the Loki one, I enjoyed. There was certainly parts in that where it was a bit, bit tedious at times, but I overall I enjoyed it. The Captain America, Winter Soldier, and the Falcon show, I enjoyed that. WandaVision, I wasn't really fond of. I didn't really enjoy that as much. This one, it was kind of a mixed bag. I feel like there was some episodes were great, and the action scenes at the end were really great. I don't know, maybe the characters didn't connect with me, because I like Oscar Isaac. I think he's a really tremendous performer, and I think I did like certain parts of it with the characters, but I don't, just something didn't click with me. I think that maybe some of it felt very slow pacing. In like the last 2 episodes, especially where it's telling the origins of Mark Spector. I think they were very, like, the second to last episode was very slow when on that ship and they're trying to balance the scales. I thought that was a bit of a drag, that episode, in all honesty. The last episode stepped it up with more action, but overall, maybe it's something where I need to rewatch it. I will say I like the inclusion at the end where they have this third personality called Jake Lockley, and he is the new avatar for the Moon Knight character, and he's basically, this character is a villainous character. He killed off Harrow, played by Ethan Hawke, in the end, and Stephen Grant and Mark Spector, them alter egos, couldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. So obviously there's this more sinister personality. But yeah, overall, I think it's kind of like mixed. Maybe a rewatch of it certainly might improve it. Maybe like a good 6 months down the line. And we're going to do that with the WandaVision show eventually, rewatch it and just give it another second opinion and give it a second view and a second chance. But I don't know, it was one where I was more excited for it and then watched it and it was kind of like, some weeks were good. It was a bit too up and down where it needed, I want every episode to be a 10 out of 10. That's what I want with these projects. And I think it works better with this long form of storytelling. I think it does benefit the characters. But I just, maybe certain episodes just didn't work for me as well as possible. And the bits in the temples at times where it was really slow pacing. When Khonshu got put into the little statue, that episode was really a bit of a boring episode for me as well. So, look, I think moving forward, there's definitely going to be a season 2 here. I think the way it was left open, the post-credit scene with Jake Lockley, it's either going to be a season 2. That would be my preference. I think it would work better as to see a bit more progression of this character. I don't think you could do a Moon Knight movie. I just don't think it would work after seeing this. I don't think the character's got enough buzz around it. I think the only way you move forward with this character now is either he cameos in other series and movies, or there's a season 2, or both. I would go for season 2. I wouldn't even mix him in with the rest of the Avengers just yet. I would do a season 2, keep this guy in his own little separate bubble for a bit before you introduce and interact him with other characters within the MCU. But yeah, it wasn't the worst series I've ever watched, but I wouldn't say it was a standout Marvel show. These Marvel shows, I gotta admit, the Marvel shows can be good, they can be bad though. And some of them, I think they can be very mixed. I think they've had some good ones. I think the Winter Soldier one was good. I don't think they've had a really, like, the one that is the most fantastic show yet, the 10 out of 10 show. I don't think they've had it just yet. I think we're still waiting for that. Maybe it's going to be She-Hulk, maybe it's going to be Miss Marvel, maybe it'll be something else. But I don't think they've had that show that has been this stunning show yet. We've not had a Mandalorian just yet. But maybe, I think we will get it. I think we'll get it at some point. But maybe these are some where we have to go back as well and, watch them again, try and get something else from these shows. But that's what I've been watching this past week anyway. That is the end of today's show. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this show, please do give it a like, and if you're watching on YouTube, please do subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and check out the rest of the movie-related content on the channel. If you were listening to this via a podcast app of your choice, please do leave a 5-star review. It helps the podcast to grow, the community to grow, and I appreciate all your support. All podcast reviews will be read out on the show as well. Let me know your thoughts on today's show anyway, on the headline topic, Doctor Strange 2, spoiler discussion. What did you think of the movie? What were some of your favourite moments of the movie? What did you think of the big characters in this movie featuring, the Illuminati? What did you think of those moments? What were your favourite parts of this film? What would you have liked to have seen different in this movie as well? Let me know all your thoughts, ladies and gents. Thank you very much for watching, everyone out there. Remember to spread a bit of movie cheer. And as always, I will see you next time.